distribution, up and above being on iTunes, Barn, we have a distribution of 70,000 people in our database.
That's amazing. That's amazing, man. Kudos to you and your team, brother. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the gracious introduction.
Absolutely. So, give me a little background on you. I know we talked on the phone, and we're going to have obviously some follow-ups. A little background on you as a real estate speaker, an educator. I know we had some very mutual agreements on education for the people coming to the events.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where to start. You want me to start as where I started as an educator, or where I started my real estate investing career?
Educator.
Educator. Okay. So one of my passions is to teach and help others grow. That's one of my purposes. I believe in helping others grow. I believe in mentoring because I, for one, it was until I had a mentor that my business took off. So in 2007, after the meltdown, in 2009, after the last crash, Joe, as you remember, I had my first investment property, and I bought my first duplex back then. And 2 years later, I was on the water, like most of us that bought in those times, right? And I was looking at guys around me doing things with full-time jobs, and I'm sure maybe a lot of your listeners have full-time jobs. And these guys were crushing it, man. I mean, they were just crushing it in real estate. And I'm like, they're doing something right that I'm not doing. What is it they're doing? And that's when I decided to get a mentor, learn from others, get educated. And then I realized how much of a need there is out there. So I went and I got certified as a trainer, as a speaker, and as a coach, right? As a mindset strategist. And it's just in perfect alignment with who I am and my purpose in life. So, I started the Stroudsburg Real Estate Investors Meetup last year. And I also am launching my podcast, Latinos in Real Estate Investing, which we're going to gladly have you on there. I'm going to interview you, and we're going to talk shop on my show there. So any of your listeners that want to check that out, feel free to go check that out on 7/1/2020. We go live. So anyway, so I started this club, and we went from, in April of 2019, we went from our first meeting. We had like 5 or 6 members, and our last meeting right before COVID in, February 29, 2020, we had 80 members. We outgrew 3 venues, man, in 1 month. And for maybe a lot of your listeners around the country, that's not a lot, right? So maybe some places like Philly, where you're from, you're like, 80 members, not a big deal. But for Stroudsburg, that's a huge deal, right? And my vision is to continue to help and empower others to get in this business. I love real estate. I love this game, and I want to help others do it.
I know it's always nice to have a lot of people coming to an event, but it's really the quality. I'm more of a qualitative environment. I mean, you and I both know there's a lot of people out there selling educational services, but not actually providing the real people behind it, the lawyer, the mortgage banker, the real estate agent, the home inspector. And I think RIA should think about that more so than just selling product. There's obviously a piece of mentoring that needs to be addressed through the RIA itself, but I think education is key, because you're going to draw the better accredited borrowers and people out to your event.
Yep. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So if your people, we're in the middle of putting a website together right now, StroudsburgREI.com. We're on Meetup right now. But if you go to my future events, we have the whole year planned out. Next month's event, I'm going to have a property manager. At our February event, we had an asset protection attorney. So I had a commercial broker coming and talking and educating people. So I'm all about the education. Man, listen, we've both been to meetups. Where it's, guy sits in the middle of the room and it's just a waste of my time. It was a waste of time. And I don't like to waste time. I like to give value. If I'm gonna take my Tuesday night, right, and spend it with you, bring value. You make it valuable. I don't want to go there and hear how great you're doing, how many deals you're doing. Well, teach me something, give me value, put something in my network that's going to improve my business or help me get better. And I pride myself in doing that. So if you go to my meetup, you'll see I have a lineup of speakers. I mean, Hopefully we'll have you there. We talked about this briefly already. Because that's what I'm about. I want to connect people and build a network. And I make it fun because I'm a trained and a certified speaker. I know how to educate people where they're interactively doing it. I do it in such a way where I kind of force people to connect throughout the presentations.
Do you mind me asking where you got some of your training in the educational background?
So I got I'm a certified hypnotherapist, right, and an NLP coach, a neuro-linguistic coach. And I got my education through an institute, through the Tad James Institute. Love those guys. Those guys are great. And then I got my speaking certification through Success Resources. And they have a awesome program, personal development program. And so that's where I got my skills, and I'm also an avid reader. Readers are leaders, right? So I read about 50 to 60 books a year. Yeah. And I'm constantly, I can't be a trainer, right, if I don't have something to give, or if I'm not constantly learning, growing, and evolving, right? I have my big thing that I teach my students every time. I have T-shirts that with it. It's 80%. Success is 80% mindset, 20% skill set, and 100% success. That's equals 100% success. I'm a huge mindset guy. I'm naturally being a coach. I understand, and a reader, I understand the importance of your mindset, especially in this game, in any success. If you're, the conversations you're having with yourself, the people you're hanging with is going to determine a lot of where you're going to go.
So let's dig into the Poconos. I know, Greater Philadelphia market, when I came down from the northern New Jersey area, I thought this was Candyland. I feel now, and after 10, 11 years I've been here, the Philadelphia buy-in has lost a little of its luster in a sense. I feel, and I think you would agree with me, there's an opportunity in the Poconos, but it's very specific. So let's talk about the opportunities first in the Poconos as you see it, now that you're up there and you're running this Real Estate Investors Association. And where do you see the buy-in play in the Poconos?
All right, so that's a real good question. It's a powerful question. So I can address that in a few different ways. When you say, are you asking me the big picture, or are you asking me the current situation based on post-COVID? Now, we actually literally today we went green in our county. So I'm really excited about that because I can have up to 250 people at my next event, and we can finally, restaurants are opening and we can do things. Yeah. I'm gonna address it from that perspective. Okay, I'm gonna address it from that perspective.
That doesn't do much. I want to see, where do you see that opportunity?
Yep, I'm gonna address it from that perspective. Okay, so right now, currently, I'm a data guy, right? So if you're a real estate investor, you better get into data, right? Because this is not an emotional business. This is a data business. You need to make decisions with intelligence and data. That's what's going to back your business. So in 2001, I came up here with that wave. After 9/11, I'm originally from New York City. After 9/11, my wife and I decided, hey, we're going to get out of here. We're going to sell our house, and we're going to come and we're going to move to Poconos. So we built a house here. We got sold on this idea of this train coming. So there's a lot of politics involved with that.
For 30 years.
Yes, correct. For 30 years, it's supposedly quote unquote train. The train's not coming. It's just not coming. So we had a huge influx, which I came with that influx since 2002, a huge influx of people from New York getting out of the city because of what happened in 9/11, right? And I had predicted that the same thing was going to happen with COVID, right? Because all these people are stuck in their apartments and now they want to get out of the city from New Jersey and New York. And that's exactly what's happening. So we have a tremendous opportunity. We have the lowest inventory on the MLS that we've seen since or before 9/11, right? The lowest inventory, the MLS is at the lowest inventory. I know because my wife's a realtor, my daughter's a realtor. So we're a real estate family. We got our hands on the pulse. And tremendous opportunity. Things are flying off the shelf. I mean, things are just flying off the shelf. It's a great place to, because people are coming, they're getting out of the city. They want to get out of those apartments. They want to get out, they want space. They want to feel secure. I mean, places are going under contract in 3 days. I mean, I expected that. I expected that because of our proximity to New York. Now, I don't know how well that might hold up on the long-term view when you start looking at the data, Joe, when you start looking at the unemployment and what businesses are coming back and all of those other moving factors. But for the immediate situation, absolutely, we're thriving here. It's a great opportunity for a flipper, wholesalers, tremendous opportunities here.
Let's talk about the pitfalls.
Okay.
What pitfall? I'm coming down from Philadelphia. Where can I get caught in a bad situation right now? Is it the communities? A lot of these communities have these beautiful homes, pools, and the whole thing. But is there some snags when it comes to these communities?
Yes.
Am I better off buying houses not in a community? Where's your take right now with that?
That's an outstanding question. So in the late 80s, early 90s, in the first boom of the Poconos, right? A lot of the builders here were, and this is, by the way, this is on record. A lot of the builders here were advertising in New York City. They were advertising in a lot of the poor neighborhoods, and I don't know if you remember this, in the Bronx, in the project.
I remember the people going away to jail too.
Yes. Okay. So you remember that.
Everybody.
So you're familiar with the term redlining. So what they were doing was they were putting us all of the people coming from New York City, from the projects or these poor neighborhoods, and they were putting us all in this one community, right? And then they were putting us not in just this one, but in certain communities they would put us, right? They would put us all in certain communities. People didn't know better. They came coming from New York, nice house, yard, pool, this. And what it did was it just created these communities with unsupervised teenagers because these parents were commuting, and it just created a nightmare. So I would say to anyone coming, that's one pitfall. One pitfall is anyone coming to move into the Poconos, just do a little bit due diligence and ask those questions about these communities, because there are some really good communities. Not all of them are, have that reputation. There are some really good communities. But I'm going to tell you one of the biggest pitfalls from an outsider coming in that doesn't know the Poconos, and here it is. We have, because of that influx of population that came in 2001, we had an issue with schools, right? So we had an issue with schools. Our taxes went through the roof. I'll give you an example. My house, I built my house in 2003. They finished it, 2003. And my taxes went from $3,200, and it is now $10,000 in 15 years. Wow. Yes. So we had a major issue with school. We have overpopulation of schools. So we had to build all of these schools to accommodate all these people coming from New York and New Jersey. So what happened here in this community is you had a lot of new homes like mine that we're paying the brunt of the real estate taxes. And then you have a lot of the older homes, 1900s, 1920s, 1950s, 1970s, and they were paying nothing in taxes, more specifically school taxes. And it was unfair taxation. So what has been done now is that there was a reassessment of the taxes. So and that hasn't come out yet. That comes out in the end of this month, the 30th of this month, that comes out. And I'll tell you, Joe, that I backed out of a 10 unit, an 11 unit, 22, 10 and 11 is 21 units this year here in my area. Great deals because of the unknown of the taxes, because they were older homes. So my taxes went down, but a lot of these older homes taxes are going up. And as an investor, it's all about the numbers. For me, it's cash flow. I'm a cash flow investor. So if I don't have my numbers right and my numbers aren't tight, I can't take that chance. You know what I mean?
So my next question would be, and it's not on the questions that we put together, multifamily. To me, two family through 100. Let's just go that route.
Yep.
One, I probably think there's a lack of true good multifamily up there. Do you see modular development coming into play with multifamily properties in the Poconos, because you're so much closer to Scranton and Wilkes-Barre, where they develop a lot of the modular construction and cart those down? It's a quicker cart down to the Poconos than coming to Philadelphia, because a lot of the modular warehouses are up in the Scranton area. Do you see, with all this open land an opportunity for multifamily development from a modular perspective, even if it's a 2 to 4 family, instead of trying to buy older, worn down properties and restructure and repair them or repurpose them.
Here's what I can tell you on that. Personally, I would love to see that, right? I was looking at a 12-acre lot in Toby Hanna. We're going to put a car wash, a partner and I there. We wanted to do a modular car wash storage unit and build an apartment building.
Service.
Yep. And the challenge, so here's one thing. So I know a lot of the local politicians. So one of the state representative here for Stroudsburg is actually in my building. She's my friend. She's my neighbor. Her main office is next door to me. I know a lot of the politicians. I know the borough presidents from a lot of the towns. I'm really involved in the community. And here's what I can tell you. A lot of the people in positions of power that will allow or disallow are not for, let me be clear. Some of the people I know in those positions are not for overdeveloping like that in the Poconos. So I don't think in the near future we'll see this place get to the place where we'll start seeing, I would love that, to start seeing modular multifamily units start going up. I don't see that. I can't foresee that in the near future. A lot of the politicians want to keep this what it is in terms of the, that vacation, nice feel. They don't want to turn this into a city.
Yes.
They want to keep it into that Pocono feel.
So they rather go with more of a single family development of modular in that area than do type of multifamily, which can cause a change to the demographics of the type of people that would end, because really the workforce is more of a transit. They go to work outside of the Poconos.
Yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. 80% of our workforce, I think that the last statistic was between 70 and 80%, and I was one of those. For the first year I did that, I commuted to New York City. 70 to 80% of our workforce commutes to Jersey or New York, and that's brutal, man. It's a brutal commute. We think it's easy, and it really isn't. It's a tough commute.
Oh, Route 80 is a tough road.
Dude, it's rough.
I remember it distinctly, on the weekends at least, for the most part. So this leads back to what's the importances of real estate investing education now at this point? Because you got all these people that come home from work, they come to your RIA. What has been the common thread of inquiry or need of assistance at your RIA when it comes to the person walking in the door trying to buy an investment property or secondary home, etc.?
I think, Joe, that people are just that gap of the middle class and the wealthy is just getting further and further, and we're starting to see people are just getting tired of with inflation going up and their money and their dollars not taking them long enough. And then you add, for my audience here, you add that commute and that stress, and people are just looking for other ways to learn how to get involved in real estate. Everyone knows that 80 to 90% of millionaires own real estate or have done it through real estate. And people are hungry for that education. People are just really hungry for that education to learn, hey, how can I do this? How can I flip? People are seeing these shows on TV too, and they think that it's, hey, I could just go and do it. And, they need to get educated. People are hungry for that knowledge. They want to learn, how can I get out of this rat race? How can I create some leverage? And that's what I teach. I want to help people create some leverage, teach people how to become financially independent, because I believe, man, Joe, I believe that it's every human being's responsibility to become financially independent before they go and follow their purpose, right? So this is because you can't go follow a purpose without any money, being broke. This real estate is one of those avenues where you can do that.
So are you finding, being obviously bilingual, and are you finding the Poconos a better haven for diversity as well from a real estate investing perspective? At the end of the day, there's no prejudice in green money.
That's right. Yes,
so
sir.
you can't be prejudiced against money. So obviously everything that's going around in the world, from and in our country right now, do you feel that there's a little more better breakdown of the Boston Tea Party up in the Poconos area, where people don't really have the same stresses as what's going on here in the Philadelphia market?
Yes, so interesting question, brother. And I'm gonna shoot it straight. So I sit on the board of the Pocono Family YMCA here, and I'm the only person of color there. I'm the only person that Latino, right? From that looks different. And when I first moved here, this was a very different place. New Yorkers and New Jersey people were the people that migrate here. We were not as welcomed. We were not, we were the outsiders. We come here and we're different. We're loud and we're this and we're that. We're just different. And I have seen a tremendous change where the community is coming more together and it's more diverse. So to answer your question, I've seen a transition in this area. I've seen a transition. It's not Philly, I'll tell you that.
It's very stressed down here. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to distinctly remember I went into a diner in Stroudsburg. I had to go up there for an appointment maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. You had elderly, you had Hispanic, you had African American, you had LGBT, you had a family. Everybody was in the same diner.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, everybody just gets along here. Like it's like this open town. Pretty much, everybody kind of stays to themselves, but yet they're all everybody's okay with each other. And I haven't heard of any. Like I keep a track of all the news. And I'm a stats guy like yourself. I just haven't seen a lot of stress going up in the Poconos.
No, we don't have much of that.
Yeah, which is nice. I mean, I think what you bring is a whole entrance to the Hispanic market to come feel more welcome to come up from the New York area to come and consider investing in Stroudsburg as a whole. So, I have to ask that question. And I got to ask, are you a Yankee fan too?
Certainly, 100%. I'm a New Yorker, man. But listen, we have quite a large population of Latinos here, Hispanic people coming up here. And it's, there's good and bad in everything, Joe, right? There's good and bad in everything. You know what I mean? There's good people, there's bad people. For me, I see color only because I can see. However, when it comes, for me, I treat human beings, right? So some people ask me, they're like, well, how did you get to be, to get on the board of directors in the YMCA? And I'm like, because it's about the human being. It's about who I am, my character. And there's a saying here in our town. There's a good old boy club.
Well, that's everywhere.
Everywhere, right? There's a good old boy club, and I can tell you that I have earned the respect of what they call the good old boy clubs. Like I told you, I know a lot of the politicians in the area. A lot of them, And I've just earned their respect, and I've done that not through force but through my actions, showing them my character. You know what I mean? Character is far more important. Do what you say what you do, and bring value on everything you do.
Be accountable.
Yeah, man, be accountable for your actions.
Exactly.
People will respect you.
Agree. So the next question I have is a two-pronged. What kind of training are you offering? And is the training you're offering the same type of training of the type of investing that you're looking to get into as well? Good
question. So I'm offering different trainings. For instance, I have a seminar coming up. I offer one-day seminars. So right now I have a really good seminars due to the demand of what my attendees at my RIA meetups are telling me and people online. So one of my co-hosts is a contractor and an investor. So we have a property rehab tour where we're going to spend one day teaching you, showing you the numbers, and then we're going to jump on the YMCA bus. I rented it. We're going to jump on a bus and we're going to go to 2 properties, and we're going to teach you hands-on how to evaluate the rehab cost of a property. So if you want to flip or wholesale. So I'm doing that. I also have an online wholesaling course because a lot of people want to get involved in this business and they think the cheapest way to get in is wholesaling. It could be. The future of wholesaling, I don't know, Joe. Illinois passed the law you're probably aware of it, in August of last year, saying no more wholesaling in this state unless you're a broker. You are allowed to do one. If you're not a broker, That's it. If you got to be a real estate broker to be able to wholesale in Illinois. So I think that a lot of that stuff is going to, a lot of other states are going to start modeling that.
Fall by the wayside. Yep.
Yep. A lot of states are going to start modeling that. And so I have a wholesaling course. I'm putting together right now a flipping course, an online flipping course. And then my podcast, of course, just educating and my other things. And I have I have a goal setting event that I host every year in December where I get really deep in the mindset and we get really clear on what you want for next year.
Well, I want to agree with you. I think personal development is extremely important and kind of a mission statement behind real estate investing. Everybody, the goal setting, there should be something of goal setting every month, but everybody seems to want to teach it at the end of the year, which is, people want to get rejuvenated for the next year. One thing I've done is, because we have more than one event a month, we have a lot more coverage, is I've brought in somebody that's going to develop personal development monthly.
Awesome.
And I think more than anything else, I think we've all encountered some form of PTSD through all this.
Yes.
And I think everybody's going to need a little more, not handheld, but comforting.
Yep.
Keep moving forward, because a lot of people got turned off from real estate investing. We probably lost about 20% of people that were starting to get engaged and said, hey, you know what? I'd rather do something else because I can't handle all the stresses in the world. So I really appreciate you keeping personal development in the forefront of your real estate educational piece, because I think it's very, very important. So how does somebody get a hold of you to either set up a consultation? Obviously, you do have a meeting coming up on June 30th. We'll talk about that a little bit too. How do we reach out to you to get to be part of Stroudsburg RIA and work with you?
Perfect. One of those ways is you can email me, m.perdomo, Perdomo, at elitesalesconsultinggroup.com. I'm on social media, the Elite Strategist, Martin Perdomo, my personal page or my business page. We also have a private Facebook group, and that's Stroudsburg Real Estate Investors Club, I think we have it named as. We also we're putting out a website, which I literally just emailed my website guy this morning for the group. And I'm so excited about that because we're finally going to have a place where everyone can go and there's resources there. So we'll have contractors, we'll have bankers, we'll have sponsors there. We're going to have a one central place. We'll have education stuff there. We'll have you want to join our group, it's going to be all there. Everything, events, everything happening. So I'm really, really excited about that. That's going to be another one. That's StroudsburgREI.com. And then you can also, if you want to schedule a consultation, you can go to, like I said, to one of those platforms or my office, 570-634-0000. Easy number to remember.
Martin, I want to thank you for coming on to Smart Real Estate Podcast this morning. Really good information, and I got to learn a lot about you as well. I look forward to meeting you in person. Obviously, now that you gone green up in Carbon County, and I look forward to the 30th of June and future after that. I want to thank you for coming on to Smart Real Estate Podcast with my co-host Yardell Perkins of Perkatech, and we will send you an edited copy of this podcast via YouTube. Out to you probably within the next 24 to 48 hours, so you can send it out to your database and your network as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Martin, thank you very much for your time today. This is Joseph Scorese, your mortgage lending specialist at Smart Real Estate Podcast. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Martin, be well. Have a great weekend.
Okay, brother.
Take care.
All right. Are you... Perfect.